I predict this would happen? I totally knew that this was going to happen. Breaking news in the Disneyverse, everything sucks. So you might have remembered I did a video about Disney Plus a while back before it was even being launched, talking about how there were certain Disney classics made by Walt Disney himself that might not be considered politically correct these days. And we briefly discussed what Disney Plus would be doing with those movies and if they would even be appearing on Disney Plus or if they would remove them. Now, for the most part, people agreed that they were okay with the movies being up. Some people, you know, had a little asterisk next to that, like, okay, we're okay with this being up so long as there's a trigger warning at the beginning, or a content advisory at the beginning, like, oh, well, these are a product of their time, so you gotta be a little bit lenient, a little bit more tolerant. And when Disney Plus launched, that's exactly what they did. They still had the movies up, but they had a little content warning at the beginning of them. And people were, for the most part, fine with that. You know, it was still a little bit stupid, but for the most part they were like, okay, whatever. We understand that you have to do that for people who would be upset at those movies. But now Disney Plus is going through some updates and they decided, you know what, we're gonna start blocking those movies depending on the account. For now, anyway. So here we have a report that Disney Plus will be blocking Walt Disney classic movies for kids' accounts. And kids' accounts are typically under 7 years old, or at least they consider the kids to be under 7 years old. So if you go to Disney Plus and you log in as the child account, you won't be able to see these movies. Only the adults can see them. Ironically, it's the adults that want them banned. Now, is this actually going to really affect that many people? Probably not. Honestly, I don't think that many people actually, like, separate adult from kids accounts. Especially on Disney Plus. I don't see that much of a reason to separate an adult account and a kid account. I mean, when you think about it, is there really anything that shocking on Disney Plus? I mean, the worst you get is like The Simpsons. And even The Simpsons I used to watch as a kid. Most content on Disney Plus is family content. So I think for the most part, families will just let the kids use the adult account and not worry too much about it because it's Disney. But for those of you parents who do have separate kids accounts where your kids are supposed to be allowed to watch Disney movies, you'll probably be very disappointed to know that your kids are not allowed to reach these movies, which are rated G, because Disney Plus now thinks that they're too problematic for your kids to watch. Yes, that's right, you're not your kids' parents. Disney Plus is your kids' parents. Now keep in mind, this whole rant, this whole video, this is coming from somebody who agrees that content should be censored for children. There is some content that I don't think kids should see. I think that rating systems are super important. And maybe these movies shouldn't be rated G, maybe they should be rated PG in current time. But I don't think that they're so bad that kids shouldn't be allowed to watch them at all. And I think banning the movies and trying to claim that the reason that you are banning the movies is because they're not appropriate for child audiences is kind of laughable. Now, to be fair, they have banned obviously kid-friendly movies from the kids' account before these Disney classics were banned. I think they had like Onward banned and Cars 3 banned and Moana, I think. They had a bunch of other modern Disney movies that were also deemed not kid-friendly for whatever reason. I watched Moana. I cannot imagine, I have no idea what could possibly be in that movie that would be considered not kid-friendly. That was the most rainbows and sunshine kids-friendly movie I've ever seen in my life. What? Because the volcano girl is scary? I have no idea. They also banned the original Fantasia from kids viewing that. I can sort of imagine why, considering people consider the ending of Fantasia with literal Satan to be a little bit too much. But I mean, I watched Fantasia as a kid, I grew up fine. In fact, I even preferred Fantasia when I was a little kid because there was no speaking, so I could just enjoy the animation and the music and I wouldn't have to worry about understanding everything that happened. And I'm sure some people will also be saying it's not a big deal if Disney Plus keeps Walt Disney's classic movies from children. They're still available on Disney Plus, so that's fine if they want to stop kids from watching it. That's not that big of a deal. But you see, people really do need to understand the right time to put their foot down and say, no, this is unacceptable. Because nothing too extreme will happen all at once. They want to inch forward bit by bit and get you more used to the idea. It's like they take an inch forward and you're like, well, it's just an inch. That's fine. And then they take another inch forward and it's like, no, it's just an inch. I can move over a little bit. And that just keeps on happening. First, they put the content warnings at the beginning of the beginning of the movies, and then we were like, that's fine. That's okay. The movies are still up. And then they take them off the kids' platform. That's fine. That's okay. And then they take them off Disney Plus entirely. That's okay. We can still buy them. And then they stop selling it. And then they stop. The more that they inch forward, the more that they take away from you. And when it's completely gone and people are complaining, do you know what they're gonna say? You know what they're gonna say, right? You can just watch the live action remake. You don't need to watch the original. You can watch our approved version of the same story. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't hear anything about the live action version of Dumbo being taken off the kids' platform. And you see, a lot of people look at the live action reboots and they think that's just a cash grab. I always thought it was way more than a cash grab. It was them trying to rebrand what their company is. It was them basically spitting in the face of Walt Disney and saying, we don't want your shitty movies, we're gonna make our own shitty movies, and they're gonna be successful because they have your name on it. Fact of the matter is, the Disney company doesn't like Walt Disney. They didn't get involved in this company because they liked Walt Disney. They didn't get involved with this company because they even liked his work. All they liked was the money. All they liked was the success. They saw that success and they were like, yeah, I'd like to piggyback off of that. If there's one thing that we all should know is true by now, it's that this company is nothing but corporate machine scum. It's really funny how they love China more than animation. And I didn't really bother covering it when the news came out, but I did hear that they were reskinning the Splash Mountain ride at Disney World. That ride that has been there for years and years before these people even took over. And they're reskinning it because it's based on this movie, Song of the South, the movie that starred the first black man to ever win an Oscar. And they're trying to completely wipe this from their history. I've heard people complain before that Black history is often forgotten or not talked about enough. Literal Black history right here. The Disney company trying to wipe clean because they don't like this movie. Funny, this was originally rated universal, suitable for all audiences. Now it's suitable for no audiences. Now nobody's allowed to enjoy it because people said it was bad. Because your college professors said it was bad, so you're not allowed to watch it. It really is so sad how shallow people have become these days. They look at one scene from Dumbo and think that they understand the whole movie. One scene and they're like, okay, the whole movie is bad. The whole movie is racist. Kids should not be allowed to watch it. Even though the movie is about anti-bullying, it's about not judging people based on their appearances, and it's about our differences making us stronger. It's about individualism and how we should treat people individually. The layers of irony, people, that you would want to ban an anti-bullying movie. It reminds me of when Huffington Post posted this article that was like, Rudolph is problematic because people in Rudolph aren't nice to Rudolph. That's the point. How are you supposed to teach them that it's wrong if you can't show them what's wrong. That's like saying that the Sneetches is racist because it has characters who judge each other based on their looks. But no, people hyper-focus on something and then they want to act like they're a really good person for pointing out how bad it is. They do a whole speech and they talk down to you like you're a child. And it's just sad. And like I said, people need to know when to put their foot down and defend something that they love. Nobody should be able to tell you what you're allowed to enjoy. You gotta be able to stand up for yourselves. I can't just sit here and bitch about it all day. You gotta stand up for yourselves. I'm not a fan of Disney Plus. I've said that before. I think it's way better to just own physical copies of the movies, even if it's the DVD remastered shitty versions. It's still better. It's better to own those than just trust a streaming service, because when they make updates to that service, this is what could happen. You could lose content. So let me know what you personally think about Disney banning kids from watching these movies that were made by Walt Disney. Do you think that this is the right way to go about it? Do you think that they're right that these movies are not suitable for children? Any and all thoughts you have, leave them down in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Program restart.